Okay, so welcome everybody to my webinar, Unstuck Yourself, and more importantly, knowing your values. The reason I'm running this webinar, and it is the first of its kind, this is part of my Find Your Passion Day lead up. And so I want to each month bring a particular topic to the surface and just offer some of my knowledge, my experience, and my own skills and tips and tricks on how you can get that little bit closer to finding your passion, even finding some purpose at work, finding interest in your health and boosting your health. And so what I'm going to be covering off is really broad topics each month, and they can be applied to any area in your life. For the purpose of Find Your Passion Day, I'm going to be talking about your passion and how this information relates to that. But, if you can keep in mind that this is information that can be applied to any part of your life as well. So why have I called it Unstuck Yourself? So through the work that I do, through the coaching and also the training and speaking as well, this is the number one thing that I hear a lot, that people have lost themselves. They've lost what they enjoy. They've lost what passion they have, and they really just feel stuck in their life. So whether that's, through their health, even through fitness, through work, through life, they've just, they've lost that bit of themselves. And the work that I do and part of Find Your Passion Day is trying to reconnect with who you are and reignite some of that lost passion, or, that lost joy, or even that lost ambition, adventure, that creative side within you. And so what I'm going to be covering off today is one of the things that I think is really important on how you can get started to unstuck yourself and also make time for yourself as well as your passions and the thing that you enjoy. And that's essentially why I'm focusing specifically on knowing your values, and I'll get into that a little bit more as well. So just a little bit about me for those that do not know me all that well. So Natalie Moore is my name. I work as a mindset coach. I'm a mum to a nearly 5-year-old, so I'll be embarking on school life next year. I'm a super keen runner and love running marathons and chasing some of the international marathons. I'm a small business owner and have been for the last 3 years, but have been doing this solely full-time for the last 18 months. And, I can hand on heart tell you that I'm a woman living, quite passionately, because at the end of the day, it was my running that led me onto this path to embrace something more in my career other than what I was doing, which was sales in packaging, manufacturing. And I was, really stuck in a toxic work environment, which was not fulfilling. And, when I had my little girl, that really ignited the desire and the interest in me to find something other than being stuck in this job that was not fulfilling and not accomplishing. And so my career as it is today was born out of my passion for running. And what I have learnt and have really embraced is that, a lot of people can also, even if it's not starting a business, can embrace their passion and have great things. And this image of me here is actually when I did the New York Marathon nearly 2 years ago. And, when I finished that marathon, the first thing I thought of was, yes, thank God that's done. Bloody brilliant, I've done it. But I just had this insatiable surge within me that I thought, I've got to bring this into my work, and I need to create an avenue for others to find their passion. And hence, 12 months later, Find Your Passion Day was born. And here we are today for year 2. Okay. So why am I so passionate about passions? So for me, I truly do believe that when we have a passion and we have sense of purpose, whether that's at work or whether that's through our social life or our personal life, I do believe that it is the gateway to being your best self. I ran a workshop today actually within a Pilates studio, and the feedback and the comments that I got from those women within that workshop was the same, that they feel like when they are passionate about something, they feel that the rest of their health and their well-being radiates, not even just for themselves, but it has a ripple effect throughout their family and their friends as well. What I think a passion brings you also is it helps you understand what is most important to you. So when you are passionate about something, you start to understand where you want to spend your time, where you want to invest your energy, and you also start to realize, what's not so important to you. What are the things that you're saying yes to because you feel like you should be saying yes, when in actual fact you're saying no to things that are potentially really important to you and really fulfilling and bring you a lot of joy. So it helps you understand what's important to you. It also helps you develop your strengths, your talents, and your learnings. So when we're passionate about something, we are naturally tapping into a strength or a skill or a talent that we are, really good in, really proficient in. And so when we're passionate about something, we want to grow and we want to develop. So I'll give you an example for me. One of my key strengths is love of learning. And so when I started on my small business journey a few years ago now, I just wanted to learn as much as I could. And I was just looking for opportunities to just sponge. And so I was just, listening to things, reading things, constantly watching things. And so what I've been able to develop in understanding that this is one of my key strengths is that I love learning, but I also need to rein in my learning. I need to rein in my learning for a particular purpose rather than just trying to learn absolutely everything. And so once you understand what your strengths are, you can then start to really use those and tap into those. If it's honesty, you look at ways that you can use that strength of honesty in all of your dealings through work and through life as well. And without a doubt, having a passion makes you feel alive, joyful, and fulfilled. I know for me that if I didn't have my running, I definitely wouldn't be, the mother, the wife, the woman, sister, daughter, the woman that I am, basically. It just, it fuels my energy. And, the ripple effect of that is that it fuels my family's energy, particularly my daughter's energy, because she can see that I'm fulfilled and I'm happy and, loving this passion that I have in my life. So about you and what I think has brought you here, and really this is what I get and hear from a lot of people that I work with, is that you would love a passion, you would love an interest or a hobby for yourself. For the women out there, I always hear that, their husbands have something that they have for themselves that they love, and they are constantly, pushing their husbands to go out and do that thing. Book in time for yourself, do this, do that, which is just a natural natural tendency of women. And so women get to the point where they're seeing their partners doing their activity, and then they start to reflect on their own and think, where's mine? I don't have this in my life. So you would love it. You'd love an interest, a passion, or a hobby for yourself. But you start to think about that, and then you look at your calendar and you think, where on earth would I even fit something in? My days are packed. I've got so much going on in my head. I'm running here, there, and everywhere that I couldn't possibly add another thing in. So perhaps, I don't know, is that where you are sitting today? You're welcome to put, yes or no in the comment if you are comfortable to. But it is something that I hear a lot, that we get lost in this wanting desire, but then we also, see that there's no opportunity. So we don't pursue it as much as we would really absolutely love it. So today I am going to help you overcome that mindset barrier that you don't have time for it, or, you're not good enough, you're not worthy enough, or you haven't got the skill to pursue this passion that you want. And as I said, it could be in anything. Your passion at the moment could be about, eating well and being fit, or, being creative or adventurous, or, even looking for purpose within your work. So it's changing our thinking as to, what is possible when we tap into our passion. So I'm going to teach you today the first step to getting started, and something that I really do think is an activity that we don't do on an individual level. I know for myself that I hadn't done it in a very long time, or really ever actually, until I discovered it a little while ago. And that is that it's all about you. It's all about, what do you value? What is most important to you? And so when we understand what we value, we can then make decisions which align with what are most important to you. So back a few years ago, when I was working in my job, I volunteered to be part of a project team for the company, because they were looking at establishing a new vision, mission, values, purpose, etc. And whilst I was in the midst of that project, I realized that here I am investing so much time and energy into looking at the forward direction of this company, establishing their values, that I don't even know my own values. And I actually don't even know if I'm aligned to this company anymore. Is this really where I want to be? And so it really started me on this initial stepping stone to understanding, what do I value? What is most important to me? And it really has been a pivotal moment for me in my life, in that it made me really tap into who I am and what I want from life, and what I'm passionate about, and what's important, to then make those decisions so that I'm living the way that I want to live my life. So what is a value? So your values are your heart's deepest desires. They are your motivation to do the things that you do. They're your drivers, your focus, and the way that you want to live your life. So whenever I do this exercise, the one thing, and particularly for females, sorry to segment males and females, but we are natural nurturers. And so the first thing we always think about is, okay, what are my values for my family? What do I value for my family? We never, ever really tap into our own personal core values, because there's this whole should mentality that, I should be devoting all of my energy, my time, my thinking to my family. But as I mentioned to you before, that even if family doesn't sit as one of your values, there's going to be a ripple effect to you embracing who you are and what you're passionate about within your family. So essentially, the values that you decide are important to you, it's going to flow onto your family, because you're going to be living with the energy that you want, the excitement, the joy, the passion, the love that you have. And so naturally, your family are going to get you, but they're going to get you as someone who is aligned with what is most important to you. So what I would suggest when you think about your values is, see if you can avoid putting family in. If it's in there, fantastic, it's great, but also think about values that are important to you today. So think about, what's your passion, or what's your goal, what's your vision, where do you want to get to in life? And then think about, what are the values that line up with that? How are you to be living? What are the decisions that you need to be making so that you are actually going to live that value? So if I give you an example of a couple of mine. So one, first and foremost, is health. And the reason I've got health in there is because I am training for a marathon later in the year in Chicago. And so it's important to me that I am feeling healthy. Now, not just healthy on a physical level. Health to me means, the whole mental, emotional, and spiritual health along with physical. And it's so that I can get through this run. But also in that, I focus on health so that I have energy for my family outside of my running, energy for my work. I'm showing up healthy. I'm making decisions that align with, fueling my body for performance and energy. And so in knowing that health is my value, I'm then making decisions around, what I eat or the activities that I do that, best serve me and the goals that I want to get to. Another one for me is growth. So I'm very much in a growth stage in terms of, trying to push through with my career as a small business owner and a mindset coach. And so it's important for me to learn and grow and, really push myself outside of my comfort zone so that I am, making these connections and these networks with, various businesses and people that are out there that, we have aligned visions in terms of the work that we're trying to do. So they're an example of two of my values. What I've got on the next page here is some examples of core values. Now, when we look at core values, we want our values to be personality based, but also behavioral based as well. So we want to be choosing values which are going to help us take action. And the reason we want that too is because at the times where perhaps we're feeling a little bit demotivated and we might be, feeling a bit of fear or a bit of self-doubt, we can turn to these values and say, okay, hang on, I'm not living to what my highest values are. And so I need to shake things up and I need to, do the best thing that I can and make the best decisions so that I'm living in alignment with what is most important to me right now. So some of the examples there, I've got joy, fun, friendship, career, growth, connection, fitness, honesty, purpose, adventure. The list goes on, and this isn't an exhaustive list by any means. It's up to you to really think about some of the key words that, scream out at you and resonate with you. What I will direct you to in the Facebook group is I've got a core values exercise there, which is a unit as part of the Facebook group. So you can actually jump onto that and do the values exercise that's there. But for the purpose of this, what I will suggest to you is have a think about your core values. Write out 10 core values, things that are most important to you today. And then from that top 10, I want you to pull out your top 3. Now, these are your top 3 values, which are going to drive you forward to your goals and your future vision and what you want from life. Core values do evolve and they do change, particularly as our life changes. So, as we go through different life stages, our core values, they evolve and they grow. I can tell you that when I first did this exercise a few years ago, when I was in that crappy job, that, my values are completely different to what they are today, between the two. So what I started with and what I have today are completely different. And, I try and do this process, at least once a year, in that I'm just looking at them and feeling, are these still most important to me? And am I still living in alignment with these? And if these aren't, what are they today? What do I need to focus on? They don't really change so much in that, got these dramatic changes, but they do evolve. And you do, when you go through this exercise a little bit and you start to find those things that give you joy, whether it's career or that level of health or fitness that you're looking for, that you realize, I actually want to broaden my thinking. I really want to broaden my mindset to try something new. And so, that's now going to form part of my core values. And if anyone has any questions, feel free to, put them in the chat box. So really valuable exercise. What I would suggest is, take a bit of time, just, maybe you spend, 5-10 minutes just writing out a list of all different values, and then from that list, pulling out your top 10, and then from your top 10, pulling out your top 3, and then sit on it. And then, have a look at it again the next day and just say, do I actually resonate with these? Are these important to me? Are these going to be motivation enough for me to make the decisions that I need to make in order to get to where I want to be? So I've got a bit of an action step for you. So through your day tomorrow, since you're on this webinar now, having, getting some learning about values, I want you tomorrow to start paying attention to what you enjoy. So even if you don't do this values exercise that we just spoke about, maybe even it's just, sort of bringing your attention to the things that you may value. So, at home or at work, or if you're out with friends or you're out with family, start paying attention, creating some self-awareness as to where your attention goes. Now, if you're, doing a task at work and perhaps you feel like you completely dislike it, it doesn't give you any level of fulfillment or accomplishment, maybe that starts to give you the idea that, having that sense of accomplishment is important to you. So that is something that you value, something that perhaps you're not getting at work. Maybe you're at home and you haven't, seen friends or connected with friends for a little while. Maybe you start to realize that, okay, friendship is really important to me, or having, real profound positive relationships with the people that I care about is important to me. And so it's all about creating this self-awareness as to where you are today. We spend so much time in this doing mode, this autopilot mode, that we run from one thing to the next thing. And we really don't give ourselves the opportunity to be present and actually get in that moment, or even in that state of flow moment. So what I would suggest for you tomorrow, this is your action step, is give yourself the opportunity to, stop every couple of times throughout the day and take a couple of deep breaths and bring yourself back into the moment in terms of where you are doing the activity that you're doing, and think about, is this important to me? Is this something that I want to be doing? Where is my attention going? If it's not where I am, where do I want it to be? What do I want from life? How do I want to show up to the people I care about? How do I want to show up at work? What passion do I want to bring into my life? And, you're just really asking yourself these questions and, giving yourself this opportunity to reflect and also let thoughts percolate in your mind. So giving your opportunity to really tap into what may be important to you. And then the other big one there is that just that last question is, what decisions are you making? What are you saying yes to? Do you want to be saying yes to these particular questions that you're being asked, or these events that you need to go to, or these different things that you need to be doing? Do you want to be saying yes? And if you're saying yes to these things, what are you saying no to? Are the things that you're saying no to more important to you than the things that you're saying yes to? And how do you then start to make that shift in that you are doing the things that are most important to you? In a society today, we're so, built to people please. And, the likes of social media, as great as it can be, it just creates this whole comparisonism mindset, and, this whole should mentality that we should all over ourselves because we feel like that's what we should be doing. When in actual fact, we could be doing really what we want to be doing. And so, I get you to think about what decisions are you making? What are you saying yes to? What are you saying no to? And why are you saying yes or no to those things? Is it for yourself? Do you value it? Is it important to you? Does it align with what is important to you? Or is it that you're doing it because you feel like you need to be doing it? What I will say is that this work does take a little bit of time, and it's not something that you automatically, flick a switch in your mind and think, I'm saying no to everything I don't want to be doing. It's a work in progress. And so what I would say to you is, work through this with kindness and, try and remove some of the judgment and the guilt, and really just look at this exercise as the opportunity to tap into what is most important to you today, so that you can achieve, the life that you want, or the passion, or the work, or the health, or the fitness, whatever it may be. Focus your attention to that's what it is. You're not out here to, feel guilty or be judged or feel shameful. It's about identifying what is important to you. go. So once you get an idea of what your values are and what is most important to you, you can then start to look at, what do you want in your life? What do you really want? You are here where you are today. Where do you want to be? And it's funny, I sort of reflect on my life. I'm 37, so I'm not that old, but also I'm old enough that I've had, quite a lot of life experience too, and I've realized, up until 3 years ago, that I was living a life that I thought I should, that, you go to school, you go to uni, you settle down, you get married, you have kids, and you stay in your job that you've been in for your whole life. And so, people at work would say to me, I'll be retired soon, but you'll still be here. And I just thought, no, that is not what I want. I want something that excites me and fuels me and makes me come alive. And so these are the sorts of things that you start to think about when you know your values and what's important. It also gets you to start thinking about, how are you spending your time? So are you spending your time wisely? So, time is finite. It is the only resource that we do not get back. And so when we know what we value and we know what's important to ourselves, we can, make time for the things that we enjoy. We look at where we are spending our time and we sacrifice those things, and the big thing when it comes to sacrifice is that it's not about, it needs to be, a forever sacrifice. It might just be a right now sacrifice. And what you tend to learn though is that, I don't really miss that thing that I've sacrificed in my life. And so, what I'm doing right now is most important to me. So it gets you thinking about how you're spending your time. It also helps you prioritize your time. So, the one big thing too when it comes to time is that we are so caught up in trying to do all these different things. Again, when we know what's important to us or what we value, we can prioritize our time and we do those things that we need to get done. Make a list of, 3 things in a day that we need to get done. And so we focus on getting those things done rather than trying to cram in 100 zillion things into one day and not really achieve much at all. And then, of course, it wouldn't be a Find Your Passion Day webinar if I didn't say that it's going to then help you find your passion. So it's going to start getting you to think outside your mind and actually see things that you enjoy, because you start to realize that, this is my value and I want to be spending my time doing this. And so then you start to grow, you start to develop this mindset that, yes, I can bring this into my life and I'm going to try it and I'm going to give it a go. So just in closing, I will throw to you in a minute. I'm just going to share something that I've got also going on as part of Find Your Passion Day. But just want to let you know that if you've got any questions, do feel free to pop them into the chat box, and I'll answer them once we sort of close off this webinar. But I really hope that you have been able to get some sort of thinking and also start prepping for the idea of finding your values and finding what's important to you as the first step to unstucking yourself and really looking at what is possible out there. So I just wanted to let you know that as part of Find Your Passion Day, I am releasing a special 4-week program, which is called Be Fearlessly You. And it's all about getting you focused on achieving the goals you thought were unobtainable. So I really want to bring this whole idea into the forefront that we can achieve anything that we want to achieve. When we know what we value, we know what our strengths are, we know where we want to go, we potentially know what our goal is, but we have no idea how to get there. This is the program that I'm going to be running. So it's going to be kicking off July 22nd. I am running a special price given this is the very first webinar as part of Find Your Passion Day. So for $147, you get a 4-week program, which is each week you get a video from me. There'll also be a live coaching call as well with participants of the program, plus you'll get a workbook, and also a supportive community where we're going to help each other achieve these goals. And really it's about achieving these goals fearlessly. So it's, you know, it's almost having that mindset that we're going to have the fear, you know, feel fear, but do it anyway. And I really do believe that we can, you know, push through some of this self-doubt or confidence or fear issues and move forward. So what I'm going to do is I'll share a link on the chat box if I can. Otherwise, I will put it into the group and share it around regarding my program starting July 22nd, and special price for tonight of $147. And what I'll do is I'll throw out to you if you've got any questions. I thank you for your time. If you are interested, you can connect with me on Facebook and Instagram. Obviously, I'm in the Find Your Passion Day group as well. And you can also have a look at my website, bemore.com.au. Hope that you've been able to take at least one thing from today's webinar or tonight's webinar. And if anything, you know, it's just getting you thinking about what you value and what's important to you. So thank you so much. I'm going to stop recording.